Good morning and welcome to West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church. My name's Diane Alcorn and I am the Membership and Engagement Coordinator here. If this is your first time visiting with us, welcome. We're glad you took the time to join us here. If you'd like more information about our church and our worship community, please feel free and send me an email. In the meantime, again, welcome. We're so glad you took the time to join us.
Good morning and welcome to West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church, a spiritual community whose vision is for a more equitable and just world for all. After the inauguration this week, this feels even more hopeful and possible. I'm Judy Montgomery, Worship Associate, and joining me are David Blazer, Music Director, our incredible tech team, Christine Salante, Larry Wise, and Michael Hochman. A very special welcome goes to our guest speakers this morning. Kathy Strasser currently serves as the chair of our pastoral care team and will soon serve as a ministry associate. She volunteers as a storyteller and story facilitator at the Cleveland Veterans Affairs Medical Center on its dementia and inpatient psych units, and also at the Carolyn L. Farrell Foundation Center for Artful Living. Dr. Charlie Farrell, a retired surgeon, has been a member of West Shore for 12 years. He and his wife Carolyn were married for 55 years until her passing from Lewy body dementia in 2015. They have 5 children. He and his youngest daughter, Reverend Katie Norris, founded the Carolyn L. Farrell Foundation for Brain Health in 2011. The foundation's mission is to empower individuals and families to live well with dementia and other brain health issues through the arts and community outreach. Charlie had been an avid runner for 50 years, but as time went on, found swimming a gentler sport. In 2019, he swam from Alcatraz to San Francisco to advocate support for the foundation. Jerry Devis and his partner, Reverend Dave Clements, are longtime West Shore members. Jerry has served on many church committees, groups, and the board. Currently, he chairs the nominating committee and as chair of the Aesthetics and Permanent Collection Committee. He is looking forward to his role as a ministry associate. He has been a longtime arts educator and currently is executive director of the Carolyn L. Farrell Foundation for Brain Health. Together, we are pleased to invite you into this space, which is connecting people in Cleveland and beyond to our welcoming community. Often, the world is not so welcoming. Often, the values of the world are neither loving nor just. So may this worship hour be one where our souls are fed by a wisdom and a passion that reminds us that life doesn't have to be that way, that there exists a larger love in every human heart, urging us on to what is better. Let this larger love move in our midst today, and may we be changed by it. A very special welcome to you If you are a newcomer to our community, gay or straight, cisgender or transgender, black or brown or white, you are welcome. Our West Shore regulars would love to greet you, and will do that if you indicate in the Facebook chat that you are new or relatively new. If you happen to have any questions and would like to chat with a live person, West Shore's Member and Engagement Coordinator, Diane Alcorn, would love to reach out to you. Diane's email address is being added to the Facebook chat as we speak. We have one announcement for you this morning about Greater Cleveland congregations. GCC unites West Shore with about 40 other Cleveland area faith communities across lines of race, class, religion, and geography in service to practical community issues of justice. One of our members will now tell you about her experience with GCC.
Good morning. I am Mary Jo Maish, and I have been active with West Shore in Greater Cleveland congregation since it was founded. See the colorful clergy robes. It's a great image of the interfaith collective that gathered to speak truth to power to City Hall in Cleveland in the face of a consent decree issued by the Department of Justice for the excessive use of force by the police department in Cleveland. Now, I didn't grow up in a socially justice active family, but as an adult, I realized that it became an important part of who I am and what I felt compelled to do, to have truth and justice for all. GCC and West Shore is where I found my activist voice. So a march like the one I participated in is a physical expression of how a community can seek to be safer and more just. A statement of truth to power, asking for the freedom of voice we want to see and what change we want to see. In this march, I volunteered to be a volunteer monitor. I learned how to be part of the rear of the march in a reflective vest, to keep the crowd moving, and to deal with any counter-protesters, people who would come to distract or disrupt our march. Well, as we all know, excessive use by the police has not been fully solved in the intervening 5 years. We continue to work for justice, and we try to work with this interfaith group to make that a reality here in our city. Please join our Greater Cleveland Congregation team at West Shore. Next week, we are meeting with the lead organizers of Greater Cleveland Congregation on a Zoom meeting following the Sunday service. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Jo, for this powerful testimonial. If you'd like to learn more about how involvement in GCC might grow your spirit and plug you into some good trouble, you are invited to join West Shore's GCC core team, Reverend McCarr, and GCC staff Kalila Worley-Billy and Keisha Crum in a Zoom meeting right after the January 31st Sunday service. That's next week. Once again, welcome to this new day. Every week, we light our chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. It is a beautiful reminder that no matter how many jarring events might happen over the course of the week, the gathered community that is West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church is a source of stability and meaning we can depend upon. I will now say our chalice lighting words, and then West Shore member Lois Reamer and her granddaughter Arena Wade will lead us from their home in lighting the chalice and saying our unison affirmation words. This, by the way, is new for us, and we'd like to feature a new West Shore member doing this every Sunday. If you are interested, please reach out to our worship tech guru, Christine Salante. And now our chalice lighting words. This is our chalice in many separate rooms. We light one flame, flame of passion, flame of compassion, flame of humor, flame of style. We do not accept merely surviving. Let our mission be to thrive.
There you go. Good. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio su ley. Este es nuestro magnífico convenio, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor, y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
We move now into a time of greeting. We meet in the midst of our lives, the hard and the easy, the welcome and the surprising. One life occurrence that is our special focus today is dementia, its impact on individuals and the people who love and care for them, and the communities, faith communities like our church, who have been a rich part of their lives long before a dementia diagnosis. How do we offer them love, inclusion, and acceptance? Our 7 principles, beginning with the inherent worth and dignity of every individual, lights our way. So now we greet each other. Among the West Shore family, Bob French celebrated his 94th birthday this week. 94. Happy birthday, Bob. We send our thoughts and prayers of support to Liz Nolan, who has tested positive for COVID-19. Fortunately, Liz is asymptomatic and in quarantine. Bernie Anderson has also been diagnosed with COVID-19. He is also quarantining at home. Both of them would appreciate calls and cards. Their contact information is in the e-news. It is with much sadness we announce the death of Sarah Davis on January 19th from the effects of COVID. Sarah was a former friend of West Shore and volunteered at Urban Hope with Jillian Cook. Let each of us now say the names of people whom we are holding in our personal thoughts and prayers this morning, people in the West Shore community and people beyond. Wherever you happen to be, say into the space of your room these names. You may even type the name into the Facebook chat if you like. I will pause for a moment as we do this. This has been our greeting time when we are called out of the 24/7 ordinary world into a beloved community of mutual respect and acceptance. The chorus of our opening hymn really speaks to me today. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Let's sing.
Gather the Spirit, harvest the power, our separate fires will kindle Gather the spirit of heart and mind, cease for the sowing or laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
I have a birthday coming up next week. I have been in that 65-plus age group for a while now, and I am more than a little aware of the fact that statistically, I have a nearly 1 in 3 chance of one day having a diagnosis of some form and degree of dementia. I've given this some thought and decided to have a short speech ready for that day if needed. Here goes. I have dementia. I am not just dementia. Someone may have cancer, but that person is not just cancer. I am the sum total of many parts, experiences, and relationships. One of those parts is dementia. In my life, I have been a daughter, sister, niece, granddaughter, and an aunt. I have been a wife, and I am a mother. I have been a college student, a lifeguard, a school teacher, and I am a church member. Fairly recently, I became a volunteer storyteller and facilitator. Very recently, I became a grandma. I love to cook and garden. I have strengths and challenges. I have been told I'm a great listener, and I know I'm a lousy housekeeper. I love stories and people who are on time. Sometimes I say too much. Other times I'm too quiet for my own good. I like a person with a sense of humor. The drier, the better. Yes, I have dementia, I will say in my speech, and I am not just dementia. What prompts my short speech I just shared is, in part, a result of my own experience as a certified time slips facilitator on the dementia unit at the Cleveland VA Medical Center and at the Center for Artful Living in Westlake. I came to serve as a chaplain intern at the VA in 2012 when I earned and gratefully received sabbatical time as West Shore's religious educator. I told the ministers then I wanted to use the time to learn more about pastoral care, and they encouraged me to apply to complete a 3-month unit of clinical pastoral education at an area hospital. I did just that, loved being a chaplain intern, and then did 2 more units. As a result of my church's encouragement and support, I began a ministry on the VA's dementia and inpatient psychiatric units, and I continue to serve there now as a volunteer, COVID permitting. Soon after I completed that first unit of clinical pastoral education, I connected with UU minister, the Reverend Katie Norris, who with her father, Dr. Charlie Farrell, co-founded the Carolyn L. Foundation for Brain Health and its large outreach program at the Center for Artful Living. I wanted to learn more about a cutting-edge program called Time Slips. With her encouragement, I became a certified Time Slips facilitator. Time Slips is a program, a network in all 50 states based on the premise that people with cognitive memory loss are, well, people. People with individual life experiences, passions, likes and dislikes, a range of emotions, and a human need for interaction and community. How are these recognized, nurtured, and celebrated? Through story. Participants create a story together based on a picture, a story not from specific memory as much as from imagination. It's an exciting and fun process, creating a story that's never before been told. The story is scribed just as it's offered, no corrections needed. When participants hear the finished story read aloud, they are so pleased and proud of their creation, and there are always nods of recognition when they hear their individual contributions to it. It's then that the story's title is selected, often with several winners. I am delighted to share a story created by 3 male veterans on the VA's hospital's dementia unit. The story was created in response to this picture. Take a moment to engage with it. What do you see? Who's there? What's going on? What's going to happen next? And so the story begins. The goal is to ride for 10 seconds. Then you become a millionaire. Well, this may be Texas, somewhere out west. Looks like the old boy got bucked. The cow got him. Don't tuck and roll. Get up and move. He's got to be evasive to survive. This bull weighs more than a piano, at least 1,000 pounds. Bull has him in his sights. This rider looks like he has some experience. This might be how he makes a living. The audience came to see the bull. Looks like they're having a good time. What's next? The cowboy's going to be evasive and roll out to live another day. The bull is thinking, you'd better get out. Definitely dangerous, but that's the draw, the entertainment. Same reason they go to boxing or bullfights. It's not planned out. The bull isn't done, though. He's going to chase this cowboy down and then head back to the corral. The cowboy, when safe, will look at the crowd, wave, and see what his points are. Like being with a woman. You have to look like you know what you're doing. If a 10 is the highest, our cowboy got an 8. The story's perfect title is, It's a Living. You have to get up off the ground. These 3 veterans who created this story have dementia. They are not just dementia. Their story shows an actual knowledge of bull riding from multiple perspectives of rider, spectator, and even the bull. There is logic and a natural sequence to their story's events. I love their success at building excitement, relating the event to other aspects of life, and deftly bringing a wry smile to a reader's face. Their story's message encourages a sense of purpose and hope. We do indeed have to get up off the ground. I witnessed this creative magic and the sense of community it brought to these 3 men. Yes, they have dementia, and no, they are not just dementia. These story-building experiences teach me to slow down, to wait, listen, be open, confirm others' thoughts and words, to celebrate what's been created, and to affirm life. Can we see the person rather than just a label, a diagnosis? Can we open our eyes, minds, and hearts to include those with dementia among our families, our friends, and even those fellow members within our own West Shore faith community? Yes, and may it be so.
Thank you, Kathy. A year or so ago, I became part of a village of women helping to support a friend who was diagnosed with dementia. I hadn't had a lot of experience with people with dementia, so I talked often to West Shore members Mary Jo Maish and Marcia Perrins, who are closer to her than I am. I wanted to make sure that when I visited her, I contributed to her well-being, rather than say or ask things that caused her distress. Turning our attention towards being more inclusive here at West Shore really aligns with my values and my vision of a loving and just world. Thank you, West Shore, for your generous gifts of money and energy, which help to build a beloved community of acceptance and caring and inclusivity. Dementia can be so challenging for the individuals who have it and for their care partners. So the work of building a dementia-friendly community is truly a gift. Thank you for helping to make that possible. Now, please consider texting a one-time gift to West Shore. Instructions for how to do that can be found on your screen. Our offertory today is Habanera from the opera Carmen to honor the memory of Carolyn L. Farrell. One of Carolyn's many joys in life was opera.
Good morning. I'd like to first thank Reverend Anthony for inviting us here, and mostly to thank the West Shore community who has supported us now for over 10 years with many volunteers and a lot of love. We appreciate it very much, and we hope to be with you for many years to come. Today I'm just going to share a Sunday here with my wife Carolyn, which she enjoyed immensely for probably at least 10 years of our journey together. As most of you know, I'm a surgeon by trade. I retired in the year 2000, and as luck would have it, my wife Caroline was diagnosed with dementia shortly thereafter. Being retired, my wife and I were able to share her journey together for more than 15 years. She remained my best friend, and I became her care partner. My first impression was that this should be a simple affair. I'm a surgeon, my wife has a disease. I took upon it myself to take on Carol as a patient. I would cure her. of her disease, take care of her, and do everything for her. In a short time, it became clear that this approach was not working very well. By doing everything, I was stripping her of her persona, her dignity, and I removed her from any opportunity to make her own choices. It did not take long for Carol to make it quite clear that although she may have dementia, she still wanted to be herself. It was Carolyn who taught me how to become a care partner. Persons with dementia have one thing in common, and that is some degree of progressive memory loss. With dementia, their ability to speak becomes hindered, and thus they are unable to tell us what they need and what they want. They are stripped of their persona. They no longer can be themselves, but they still want the same things we do. Well, what did Carol want when she arrived here on a Sunday morning? Carol wanted to be recognized. She arrived at church and she expected a big smile from everyone. Even though she could not remember their names, she knew who they were. She wanted to enter the building with dignity and with as much as possible. We needed to support her walking and ultimately provide a wheelchair. She wanted to be placed where she could see and be seen. She wanted to understand the meaning of the service with a large print summary and a small sketch. She wanted space to socialize where she could interact with the congregation, adults and children as well. Carolyn did not want to be special. She was very clear. I just want to be me. As I look back, the biggest mistake I may have made was to have considered Carolyn as a person with dementia rather than a person with a permanent progressive disability. When we care for persons with disability, we accept them where they are and we assess their abilities. Since the person with dementia cannot tell us what they want or what they need, it is up to us as a congregation or as a care partner to slowly assess their emotions and learn what makes them happy. Then provide an opportunity for them in which they can succeed while we help them to lead a joyful life. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope to be back soon.
Good morning, and thank you, especially to Reverend Anthony and West Shore, to share this service this morning with us, and Kathy Strauser and Charlie Farrell as well. I want to begin by asking you what these individuals have in common. Let's start off with the artist Norman Rockwell, singer Glenn Campbell, actress Rita Hayworth, the First Lady of Civil Rights, Rosa Parks, composer Aaron Copland, boxer Sugar Ray Robinson, DJ Casey Kasem, and comedian Robin Williams. Each of them were impacted with some form of a dementia or Alzheimer's. Closer in our hearts, right here at West Shore, Edie Schwede, Leanne Bliss, Dolph Fowler, and Carolyn Farrell, and many, many more were members and leaders of this church. I want to ask you, how have you been touched by someone with dementia in your life? Someone in your family? A spouse? a parent, grandparent, a neighbor, someone you've worked with, someone you love, yourself. I must share, most of my life I have been impacted by someone with dementia, starting with, as a young child, my grandmother. As an adult, my dear mother began to lose her eyesight and eventually became blind, and it affected her cognitive memory and her understanding. Many friends and associates have also come forward and asked me things about dementia. These are people like parents, spouses, siblings, neighbors, and other friends and individuals that they deeply care about. For the last 6 years, I've had the privilege to be associated with the Carolyn L. Farrell Foundation and Dr. Charlie. As we've shared, this organization began a decade ago, 10 years ago, along with, as we've mentioned, Dr. Charlie and his daughter, the Reverend Katie Norris. And Carolyn had a very important role in the creation as well. The goal is to bring enrichment programs such as the arts of art and music, dance and movement, storytelling, and time slips like Kathy spoke about. These programs have great meaning and purpose and provide opportunities for socialization and engagement, not isolation, so important. And not only is it for the individual with dementia, but for their care partners. The nonprofit has grown and expanded greatly during this time. And we've been most grateful to West Shore and the members of West Shore. They have served on our board. They've been involved in our programs by attending with family members. They've provided wonderful enrichment programs. They've volunteered their time and have made financial gifts to support the mission and the work of the community. We continue to offer programs virtually. We've done it since March. Quite a change for us. To remain vibrant and connected, so important, as we continue to offer free programs and services to the community. So you truly have been a caring congregation. For many of you, you may have questions and needs not necessarily met right here in our congregation. Let us consider, how might we grow stronger and even more welcoming? First, what are we doing well? But what might we be overlooking? How might we do an even better job? Ask yourself, if you've known someone here at West Shore, how well have you talked to them? How comfortable have you been? Have you reached out to them as an individual and their care partner? Now, I realize during COVID, this is certainly a different situation, and it adds challenges to addressing this. But I want you to think specifically about COVID. First, realize how challenging it has been in our lives. Being isolated, being disconnected, not seeing friends. Now think for a moment. This is how often, this is the norm for someone with dementia. Even prior to COVID, 365 days of the year. When we're in person, have you noticed someone maybe not attending church any longer, not being involved in activities and committees and groups? So let's look at how this faith community can be welcoming. Dementia-friendly congregations can provide an important spiritual respite, offering them a welcoming, compassionate environment that can offer families and individuals opportunity for meaningful engagement and spiritual connection. Through dementia-friendly practices, we can embrace, support, and uplift individuals with dementia and their care partners. But how might this path look? One, to make individuals feel loved, valued, and a way to have a sense of belonging at a time when they feel very isolated. Yes, this can be a big responsibility. There are challenges. But first, the biggest obstacle is that stigma, the stigma associated with dementia. And then the impact. 10% of a church population, or of any population, over 65, age 65, and 50% over 85 certainly can be impacted. As well as 60% of women have a greater propensity. And sadly to say, currently there is no cure. Alzheimer's Association, other medical facilities are doing great research in the area, but there still is no cure. So for an individual to share, to come forward within a faith community, it takes a great deal of courage, a great deal of fortitude, and support from everybody. Yes, it's about our brain, it's about behaviors, memory, one's disposition, and so many other challenges. I can think back on my own mom, how she often wanted to be engaged and not feel lonely, but people no longer called. People stopped asking to do things. They began stepping away. Even with my mother needing some guidance with her blindness, people sometimes felt uncomfortable. Yes, sometimes there's a discomfort. Knowing what to do, knowing what to say, even sometimes it can be downright disrespectful. I've seen where individuals have been bullied. I've witnessed it in senior centers and other community settings. As a teacher, I would have never stood for it in a school, and we never should as well. So establishing a dementia-friendly culture can improve the quality of life for everyone involved, and it really involves all. At church, we do some strategic planning and thinking ahead, and dreaming and visioning, and all segments of church should be a part of developing and evaluating this impact. So let's ask ourselves, first of all, what we can do, and then what can I do? These begin from educating members, our youth, our children, our staff at West Shore. Providing resources. The pastoral care team does a beautiful job, but others beyond the walls of the church. And then understanding ways to communicate, effective ways. Right now, verbally I'm speaking, but nonverbal communication through your eyes, through a smile, through that gentle touch when it's appropriate. Multi-generational activities, things through the arts, music and art, and other kinds of activities. We need to examine, as an idea, our own church, the building, the entrances, all the accommodations, the order of service, seating, all can have a great impact on the experience at church. And then never forgetting the care partners, the respite that they could appreciate, transportation helping them, spending time, devoting time in helping. And then hosting what we would call maybe a memory cafe, a coffee type situation with activities and comfortable seating. All things to think about, but certainly a role that West Shore and other faith communities certainly need to address and look at to make it a dementia-friendly congregation. I want to close my portion with a poem written by Tom Brennan. When I was lost, you showed me the way. When I was frightened, you calmed my fears. You made me laugh when I wanted to cry. If I failed, you told me to just try. You are my friend, but I forgot your name. When I called for help, it was you who came. There's one thing for you to know. The sun and the rain helps make our garden grow. The garden grew. Now winter threatens snow. I leave a final loving refrain. You are my sunshine. I am the rain. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry and Dr. Charlie. Love will guide us as we become a more dementia-friendly congregation. Let's sing, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road of hungry to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
May love guide us. We've heard a lot this morning in the reflections that were shared. Let's take a few quiet moments between each of the following thoughts from those reflections to contemplate them. She wanted to be acknowledged. Can we see the person rather than just a label, a diagnosis? Can we see the person? Can we open our eyes, minds, and hearts to include those with dementia? Think about how challenging life has been during COVID. Being isolated, being disconnected, and not seeing friends. This is often the norm for people with dementia. Establishing a dementia-friendly culture can improve the quality for everyone involved. We've heard these voices of compassion. May we be inspired and deepened in our commitment to making West Shore more welcoming. As Amanda Gorman said, there is always light, if only we are brave enough to see it, if only we are brave enough to be it. Now bring your chalice close to extinguish it as I extinguish the chalice here. We extinguish our flames, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again. Remember today's coffee hour at 11:30. At 12:30, please join us for the sermon chat on Zoom. And now the benediction.
The words of Maria Shriver in honor of her father, Sergeant Shriver, founder of the Peace Corps, member of the Kennedy administration, head of the Special Olympics, and recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Maria Shriver says, "There are no stories of remission or miraculous recoveries. No one says, 'I beat Alzheimer's.'"
It is the ultimate foe, and we have to be a formidable warrior. I'm trying to galvanize people all over the world to help me change the impact of Alzheimer's.
It's not just an older person's disease, and it doesn't affect only the individual diagnosed. It deeply impacts the entire family. There are financial, emotional, spiritual, and physical effects that touch everyone's life. So may it be. Amen.